Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. More and more analysts agreeing that this market's about to resume its rip to the upside, XRP included. In fact, I'm going to share with you perspective from a ton of different XRP chart analysts in this latest Moon Lambo hot jam, including one who says, yeah, the cooling period, it's about to come to an end. And he's got some really high price targets. It's hard for me to believe that all of these analysts, and including the more conservative analysts, are all wrong. Because even the more conservative analysts believe that there's a really serious chance XRP is going to hit double-digit price action. Even the conservative analysts are saying that. Are they all wrong? I find that hard to believe because in my experience, tracking this particular group of XRP chart analysts that I track, I have noticed that when they all say the same or similar thing, they're almost never wrong. What they say is probable happens. Strong majority of the time. Sometimes the improbable happens, so I won't say literally it's impossible. But come on, folks. What is most likely here? So anyway, I think you're going to like what I have to share with you in this video, but so if I said to say yes, resuming to the upside, that's what's in the cards, and it's going to happen. But before going any further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice. And you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, don't get used to looking at XRP at the price that's on your screen here, $3.19. It ain't going to stay that cheap for that long if these analysts are correct. Now, here's a post from chart analyst Crypto Michael. And he said, excuse me, this is a post from yesterday. He said, retail FOMO hasn't even begun yet. If you're calling the cycle top already, you should just quit trading. This game isn't for you. Now, folks, I think that's very obviously true, and there's a number of ways that you can figure this out. One way, I've highlighted this a number of times. You can look at search terms for Bitcoin and XRP, crypto, pick any of those keywords. You can go to Google Trends and look that up. And it's true. Regular people just, they're not really looking at this stuff. You get a little bit of an uptick when a coin starts going, which happened for XRP recently. And in fact, XRP searches actually overtook Bitcoin. I highlighted that in one video within the last several days or so. And that was impressive to see. More interest in XRP than Bitcoin on a global scale, by the way. But it is true. Even so, I certainly think that he's correct here. The masses, they're just not hanging out here yet. They're not hanging out in the world of crypto. But the price of Bitcoin's gone up and altcoins have followed. Obviously there's been a lot of pulling back in 2025, but things are heating up again. So what's going on there? Well, how about this post from chart analyst Zoom? The chart on your screen here is Bitcoin new addresses. Well, that's the line in green anyway, and then the yellow line is the price of Bitcoin. And this is interesting, so check this out. He says Bitcoin is up 2x from when it was last at $60,000 around August 2024, yet new address creation is still flat at those same levels. Why is this interesting? Retail isn't piling in yet like previous cycles. This rally looks driven by existing players or institutions. Now, folks, that is spot on. You can see it in Google Trends. You can see it with account creation right here, new addresses. And it's very obvious that what's happening right now is boatloads of institutional money actually has been flowing in, and there's no shortage of data to actually back that up. So think about this. The price of Bitcoin is as high as it is, close to $120,000. The price of XRP is as high as it is, $3.19 right now. And that's without the mania that comes at the end of market cycles. What the hell do you think happens when the masses do start flowing in? And I'm telling you, folks, the higher the prices go, the more likely it is that the retail masses get interested and come in. Because it's because of human psychology. It's stupid, but the truth is people don't want to put mass quantities of money into an asset when the price is low and when it's trending down or sideways. They tend to not be interested in doing that. It's a smart thing to do, but they don't do it. But when the price goes higher and higher and higher, especially as you get mania towards the end of the cycle, yeah, then they do want to. And so as soon as you start getting crazy headlines about crypto going up, Bitcoin specifically, XRP specifically, the whole market in general, you're going to get a boatload of fresh money flowing in here. And so think about it. Again, the prices are as high as they are right now without that having happened yet. It's going to get absolutely absolutely bananas before this is all over here. And so I think that this, I think that this is aptly put. I think that Zoom's right for pointing this out, and it's just going to get completely crazy. It just is. Here's a post from chart analyst Rect Capital, Bitcoin USD chart here. And he says, after a brief downside deviation below the range, Bitcoin is trying to reclaim the range low as support once again. This is the second downside deviation below the range this week. However, already there are initial signs of the downside deviations potentially getting shallower, as evidenced by the emerging early stage higher low. So let's go ahead and translate that. It's Bitcoin poised to move higher, which is what you would hope and expect towards the end of a cycle here, a final parabola developing. It's going to anyway. And altcoins follow. And altcoins substantially outpace Bitcoin. That's what's going to happen here, folks, if history is to rhyme with itself. Here's a post from chart analyst Kaleo. He obviously agrees with this. He says, this is Bitcoin, of course. He says, looks ready to send straight to new all-time high. So, and this is just yesterday. So he thinks this is the moment, folks, whether it's today, tomorrow, whatever. Obviously, in the short term, he thinks it's about to happen. He's not the only one. Here's a post from chart analyst Mikey Bull Crypto. He says, Bitcoin followed exactly as I predicted. Now run it higher to an all-time high. And this is what I keep seeing. Like, there's just broad expectation this is going to occur. It would be weird if it didn't, frankly. This has happened in every cycle. You get this final blow off that. It would be weird if it didn't happen this cycle. Here's the crypto total market cap, excluding the top 10 coins by market cap. Now, technically, it's the top 125 coins by market cap. And out of that group of the top 125, it's excluding the top 10. So the rest of the alts. So XRP isn't in here. But frankly, I don't think it matters that much. It's still interesting. And let's be real, alts go when alts go. So if others goes, even if XRP is not included in this clump, fine, it's still going to go. Like, alts in general are going to go. I mean, it has been going recently. I'm just saying it's not done. And so here he wrote, now do you believe? A picture paints 1,000 words. This one, super bullish. Others double tap is in play, as called, up nearly 15%. The fun is only just beginning. Ready for alts to rally, everyone? And you can see what he's referencing here. He's talking about this double tap right here, played out through 2024 and now where we are in 2025. Same thing, he's arguing, happened last cycle before we just rocketed to the upside. And this matters to all of us because, let's be real, the life-changing wealth is to be had in altcoins at this point, not in Bitcoin. Not so much in Bitcoin. I'm not saying Bitcoin can't go to $1 million one day. I'm not saying that's impossible. I am saying, if you're talking especially about this cycle, the opportunity is where it is, and that's in altcoins, not in Bitcoin, not at this stage. Bitcoin's already rallied too much. Altcoins, looking like crap. I mean, in comparison, price-wise, yeah, they're looking awful. They've been recovering a bit, but that's where the opportunity is, when the price gets that low. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache, and this one I really love. So this is an others BTC chart. So it's others, which again, as I cited, is the top 125 coins by market cap, excluding the top 10, and it's denominated in Bitcoin. And he's noting that this is a falling wedge pattern that's playing out right here, which means when it breaks out of this, it just rockets to the upside. He wrote, the breakout of this falling wedge, which has been in the making for over 4 years, will make many rich. It couldn't be more exciting, to be honest. Folks, that's altcoins. That's what that means. Altcoins taking off. And so if you look at something like, I know, Total 2 or Total 3, then you get XRP included in it. And it's not the case here. Doesn't matter. They're all going to go at the same time. That's just the norm, folks. That's what's directly in front of us, if history is to rhyme with itself. That, by a lot, is the most probable thing, so far as I'm concerned. Here's a post from chart analyst Cryptolica. He says, easy money XRP season. Yeah, it's because you know what that means, right? Get into a crazy alt season? Yes, easy money season. There's a brief period in time where you're just going to feel like the biggest financial genius on the planet because you can't buy something and then not make a bunch of money. Until suddenly enough time passes, the bubble pops, and then that's no longer true. But the fun part is leading up to that. And so here he's citing XRP getting up to $5.50 roughly in the short term. Not crazy. I mean, that's just to get the party started here. Here's a post from chart analyst Chart Nerd. He says, I was calling for a $27 XRP sub 50 cents. 8 months ago, to be specific, XRP was below $1, and I called for the all-time high in 2025 and my road to $27, YouTube analysis. Now, we're starting to push beyond that, and our targets are looking more realistic as we head into heat-up season. And isn't it funny? The higher you get, some of these price predictions that people cite, they start to seem a lot less crazy, and that's all it takes. It's not like anything fundamentally shifted. You just start to get a little bit higher, then suddenly people are like, oh, maybe that is true. Maybe that is true. Maybe that is true. Folks, it's crypto. Look at just pick any number of coins that have been around for a while. What the hell happens? You can so easily figure this out. The asset class moves in tandem, and then you get some big-ass life-changing moves. To think that can't happen with XRP, it's a stupid defeatist attitude that never made any damn sense. XRP has been artificially suppressed for years. Now it is playing catch-up. That is what's happening right now. It's going to be worth a freaking fortune compared to where it is right now. I do believe that. Here's a post from chart analyst XR Punky. It says those fib those fib levels above could be some little take profits area for the wave 3. I believe it could overextend to reach $13, which is my target of $10 to $15. We shall see. And so this is just one more example of an analyst who firmly believes, yeah, we're getting into double-digit price action for XRP. It's going to happen sooner than later. And I don't know if he's right, but $15 ain't crazy. This cycle, not crazy. It's just, like, this is real life, folks. There were people a year ago saying, oh, XRP is never going to hit $3 ever again. Where are those stupid asses? Where are they? Saying dumbass things with their stupid little face holes, typing dumbass stuff on the internet with their fat, chubby little fingers. Where'd they go? They're suddenly, isn't that funny? They're suddenly gone. Very silent. Here's a post from chart analyst E. Greg Crypto. He says, XRP stabilizing on top of 21 EMA. We're seeing long-legged candles on the daily chart, a strong indication that the bulls are stepping in. With decreasing volume, it's evident that selling pressure is easing. This is a positive development for XRP. Let's keep our fingers crossed that the bulls can generate some green volume to break through the descending trend line, and if they succeed, the 21 EMA will act as a robust support level. However, if we don't see this momentum, we risk another sell-off that could push us below the 21 EMA on the daily time frame. Well, folks, if that happens, so be it. In fact, I think that he kind of hits the nail on the head here. This is chart analyst Bobby A. He said, regardless of what XRP does today, tomorrow, or the day after, it is going much higher. Let that sink in. Exactly. Whatever happens, even if it does go down, okay, it's normal. This thing's not going to go perfectly up in a straight line with no pit stops to the downside. Like, of course not. It just doesn't matter in the end. It just doesn't matter. Either you have exposure when it hits a new all-time high and melts faces, or you do not. And I am ensuring that I will have exposure by doing nothing. I bought my XRP. I spent years doing so. And then I did nothing after that. I just held. Expecting that the world would catch up to my way of thinking and understanding the importance of crypto. Absolutely, that's true. And that is happening. Here's a post from chart analyst Bark. He says, XRP is refueling for the biggest pump in history. Don't be sidelined. Yeah, that sounds about right. I think it will be in terms of United States dollars, what XRP is worth. Yeah, I think this is going to be this next pump that we have, the biggest one in history. Yeah, I buy into that, absolutely. Here's a post from chart analyst Dark Defender, and he cites a price level in here that I think is, and I don't mean this in a disrespectful way, I'm just going to challenge his idea. I think it's in Looney Tunes land. I do not believe there's a snowball's chance in hell we're going to see 3-digit XRP this market cycle. I do believe it's possible we could see 3-digit XRP price at some point in the future. I think there's about a 0% chance it happens this cycle. Now, if I'm wrong, I will eat those words. I have no ego, so I'll just admit it. I was always like, well, awesome. And congratulations to everybody that made life-changing wealth as a result. I will be happy to eat those words, admit I was wrong, and just move on with life. I'm just telling you my honest opinion right here. The amount of money that would have to flow into crypto, including Bitcoin, to get up there, it's not realistic. That's my opinion. I'm not a chart guy. He's a chart guy, though, and he's been right about all sorts of other stuff, including XRP taking off this cycle. And if he's right, I will say, I'll give him credit. I will highlight that and be like, he was right, I was wrong, and there we are. But I do not believe this is happening. I just like to share diverse perspectives. So even if there's opinions I disagree on, yeah, let's talk about it. I'm sure some of you listening agree with me. There's probably some that think that actually this could happen this cycle, in which case you do believe in a Looney Tunes thing. I'm having a little fun with you. No, I know that there's some people that do believe that's plausible. I just respectfully disagree. That's all it is. So anyway, here he said, the cooling period is about to come to an end. Now that I do believe. It says XRP is targeting $117 by surpassing Wave 3 targets of $13.13, $18.22, and $36.76, not financial advice. Considering the historical pattern and wave structure, XRP is about to turn all haters into lovers. I don't know if that's gonna be true of the toxic Bitcoin maximalists out there, but I think there's gonna be a lot of happy people out there. That part's true. It says June and July were hot, and August will be hotter. Well, I will not be surprised if that part is true. But no, I can't take $117 seriously. I'm just being honest. And again, if I'm wrong, it's just my opinion. Like, we're all entitled to our opinions. Nothing against him at all. It's not an attack on him. It's not a dig at him. Nothing of the sort. I think that's silly. I think it's silly, and I'd be happily, given that I have no ego, and I won't have trouble admitting that I'm wrong if I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, because I know what that means for our XRP community. So many people making life-changing wealth sooner than and to a greater degree than they expected. Yeah, I'm all for that. Hell yeah. But it will not happen. It will not happen, folks. Not this cycle. You start to lose me when you talk about stuff like that. But he has been right about all sorts of other stuff. Again, like I said, including XRP breaking out the cycle. He's been a voice of reason on that, and how it consolidated for better part of a decade, and then finally broke. Like, obviously. But $117 XRP ain't happening, folks. Sorry, not sorry. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say, all right? That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.